Hello and welcome back to Blue Crescent Tarot. My name is Deanne and today we are going to be doing a little talk through of Inspired Soul Tarot by J. Rose, who you might know through the channel name Peekaboo Rose on YouTube. This deck is available at Make Playing Cards and I've had it, I don't know, I think since 2020. I think it is a pretty underrated deck, just in the fact that I've not seen it a ton. And I've been wanting to do a talk through for quite some time. So I'm finally sitting down today to do this. I put it in order yesterday after kind of randomly pulling it off my shelf and decided I would put it in order for today to do a video. So sort of for my own purposes, today is September 8th, 2022. I don't know when this video will actually show up online. I am currently, how do I say this? It is not advisable for me to be on YouTube currently, but hopefully soon that will change and I can start uploading these videos that I've been making for you. So anyway, without further ado, let's get into this. I wanted to show you the backs, which I think are beautiful. So perfect. Fully reversible if that's something that matters to you. And the background color, I would say, is it's sort of like a sunrise. That there's like a little pinky peachy kind of color, which hopefully is coming through. I think you can see the different kind of, well, except for the ring light glare, that you can see the sort of variance in color on the backs, and then the same background carries through on the front. So let's go ahead and take a look. This, because it comes from Make Playing Cards, doesn't necessarily come with a box, but you can order one or order one of their tins or anything like that. I did not order anything extra for it because I knew I had like lots of pouches that I would be using, just a little zipper pouch. So I put it in this black and white one just because it's something I had laying around, but I chose it from a few others because this Inspired Soul Tarot is so colorful and beautiful in that way that I chose a black and white one to sort of be like the blank canvas, even though it's not blank, but do you know what I mean? It's more plain, and so because of that sort of opposite, it reminds me about what's in here. So that's that. Maybe someday I'll get fancy and make a tag for the outside. So title card with a blank back comes with the deck. And then we have the Fool. So you will see that there are, it's basically kind of broken down symbols, I would say, on the card. Simple sort of graphics, but super cute, meaningful, and I can absolutely tie this to a traditional Fool card. There's this idea about kind of taking off, taking that leap, flying out into the unknown possibly. You might have some kind of idea where you want to go, but this is that moment of takeoff. There's that little bit of unknown there. We have these rainbow glasses, and so when I see this, it kind of makes me think of you know, rose-colored glasses a bit, which, you know, I think is also fitting. I will often say in terms of the Fool card that we're at this moment of, you know, I don't want to say complete emptiness, but it's like that meditation mind to me. Before we fill it back up with a thought, you're just sort of open and waiting to take that first step. It's that transitional phase where we think about what might be ahead, and we're just going to go ahead and try it out. In that there's a possibility of a muse. That's what I always think. Like the Fool is out in nature, whether literally or figuratively, and they're open and inspired. They're waiting for that inspiration, and when that inspiration comes, then they'll step off. So anyway, that's my ramble about the Fool. And we do have traditional symbolism here of the white rose, as we would see in a traditional RWS. The Magician. So the concept of this deck is that she's using sort of day-to-day passions or hobbies that we are inspired by, right? Inspired souls. So it's like, what are those things that you those fun things in your life, and kind of taking those and turning them into the different meanings of each suit. So you'll see as we go through that that some of these items come into play, things that you can do every day: reading, cooking, construction and building, painting. What is it that you do in your free time? And of course, as the Magician's Table, having all these things available. The High Priestess I love so much, because a snow globe is like this magical, this sort of separate thing. Like we might view whatever's behind the veil in the traditional High Priestess card. What is in that sacred space for you? And the snow globe creates such a quiet moment that's filled with magic, right? It's like it's a private thing. I could be in a room of 20 people and tip a snow globe, and I would feel alone in a really good way, right? That it's that private secret for you to find out. And of course, the crescent moon is perfect, pulls from the traditional symbolism, and of course, something I love. The Empress, again, really simple but beautiful depiction of this. Just a little scene from out in nature and different things growing. So many different things that are being naturally cultivated. The Emperor, and this is interesting to look at these in comparison to each other. A tree is this more sort of quote unquote established, structured thing. We have rocks around it, maybe this, sort of tougher border, whereas the Empress is this sort of free form nature, not being so concerned about the structure of things, just kind of letting things go and grow as they will. And of course, two really different and important energies to have in our tarot deck, because sometimes we need the structure. The Hierophant, beautiful tablescape, altar space of something relating to ancestry, something related to fire and communication, right? We have the sword, we have a rose, we have things that could bring in that sort of earth vibe. Beautiful crystal little treasure box back here. Just a magical space where you can seek answers, where you can be your own teacher. The Lovers, super amazing and cute. I've mentioned before in passing on my channel that I was able to get this deck prior to getting the Idiosyncra deck, which some of you know was my unicorn deck, and I was so fortunate to be able to get a copy. But in the meantime, I had this, which brought its own beauty and purpose and cuteness, because it's a similar, right, like a graphic on a card, cute, not necessarily cartoony because there's not really people, but a sort of cuteness that I like, because I don't like all forms of that. But I really love this, and I, like I said, have mentioned before that this deck reminded me of the Idiosyncra deck, and but again, is very much its own thing. The key here really brings to mind that commitment and really making an intentional choice, which is what the Lover's card is all about, right? Any kind of choice, which one of these will you unlock? But then it also can be viewed as this togetherness, because sometimes it does come up that way. But I love that we have the key and a decision to make which one of these you'll unlock. The Chariot, pretty straightforward. Progress and forward movement, and again, a bit of a commitment, going forward on the path that you choose. Strength card, we have the lemniscate that we would traditionally see, and the lion here is appearing back to us as our reflection in the mirror, which I think is great because it's about that integration. We are the lion. It's about bringing those sides together, the sides of the self. And the Hermit, just needing some quiet time to reflect and learn, deeply drink from our own library, from our own meditations. What is it that needs to come to the surface that we can then share with others? Wheel of Fortune, super cute. I'll probably say that 15 more times. You never know what's going to be drawn out. Similar even to a tarot deck. Yes, that we don't know what's going to come out of the deck, but we face it and reflect on it and keep walking through. The Justice card, we have this concept of the feather and the heart being weighed. So we can read this justice as day-to-day decisions. We're coming through, we're considering everything that's coming across our table with discernment. We're deciding what to do with each item, with each thought. And then this is so interesting here. I think the heart wants what it wants. And how much does that play into maybe when we think we're being just? Are we going with the heart, or are we balancing the heart and the mind? The Hanged One. This card is, again, simple but meaningful. The plant just is. It is suspended and looking out, right? Instead of a human figure here with the eyes closed, we have a plant that in essence always has its eyes closed, right? Being, again, this glimpse into the inner self, but also kind of tapping out, being out of the way of things that are going by. Tap out enough to be unaffected by bumps in the road or waves in the sea, waves that might come to tip you over. Just be out of the possibility of being knocked over by that. Do you know what I mean? A Death card, beautiful candle here with the skull appearing in the flame. We also have the sun behind it, some flowers growing. There's this a physical or at least energetic change, which to me is physical, but something that can't be undone. You're stepping through, you're voluntarily stepping into this space where some changes need to be made. Temperance, again, really simple, fire and water, balancing here. This gives me everything I need to bring that tempered mood into the reading. This Temperance to me is always sort of like this leveling up from the Strength card. Temperance, I feel like we can get to, this comes up when we need to or when we have gotten to the place of a quicker integration. We're just there with that balance. The mind tempered with the heart. We don't lose our fire, but we can respond instead of react. The Devil card, a few vices here on the table. Smoke, drink, are tied to technology that sometimes keeps us from other things. Credit, right? And we have handcuffs instead of chains. This can be read in a couple ways. Could reflect a specific vice or the idea of being chained to these things, which are okay sometimes, but not something that we want to rely on, right? We don't want to be chained to something that keeps us from our true selves. The Tower, pretty simple. This eruption, unlike death, this is, well, in most cases, how I would read the Death card in tarot, as a voluntary stepping through a big change. The Tower is involuntary. We don't get a say. It's just something that comes along to disrupt, oftentimes in a major way. Star card, beautiful, simple. I can get to the meaning. Obviously it's just, it's stars, it's a constellation, it's looking up, it's seeing light, it's hope. And I love the nighttime depiction of it because I am super rejuvenated by the night, and that's also a big part of, for me anyway, the Star card. We don't have the water here as we would normally have, but again, the rejuvenation and healing to me comes through really strongly with the nighttime reflected here. The Moon, finding light in the dark, not being afraid to step into darkness and confusion in order to walk through it, figure out what's really there, figure out if there's something for you to be worried about really or not. Getting to the peak in order to see more clearly. The Sun card, we have the childlike joy and innocence coming through, presumably anyway, because of the crayons and drawing. This looks like what I would draw, but I would say a childlike drawing, something that gets us in touch with that kind of freedom and innocence. Judgment, different stages of transformation, this time to reflect on past selves, to see how far you've come, to understand mistakes that you've made, to look ahead, to implementing lessons that you've learned, ready to go out as your new self. In the World, this is it's just really heartwarming, beautiful little scene. To me, it feels like something you might see like on a plate, right? Like on an old, I have some antique plates that have like little villages and like the city name written across it. This reminds me of something like that. The world, how the idea of it can be contained in this image. Nature and people and winding roads, what life is about. And then this deck has a couple of, well, it has a bonus card, a bonus major, and then 2 renditions of that major. So this is the way. Both have the frog symbolism on them, which the frog has many meanings, but the one that comes to mind for me always immediately is adaptability. And I love this is the way, right? You can have this card show up in a spread and would be a great clarifier. Let's say 8 of Cups comes up, and then this is the way, it's like this added, yes, it might be not really what you expected to be walking away from, but it's what you should be walking away from. Yeah, just as an example. And then we have Ace Cups. So the suit of cups is all wine glasses and which I think is beautiful, especially here in the Ace. We have the grapes, this idea of abundance and growth. The 2, so beautiful. And you'll see we just have number and element on them, which I love. The 3, and nothing additional in the scene. So this is going to be pip readings, numerology readings, which is great for me. I love the space that this gives me to read. The 4, bringing in the stability. 5, 6, 7, the 8, 9, and 10. The Page of Cups is so cute. So we have the fish in the cup like we would have in the RWS, but here that's the symbol, that's the main thing. It's interesting to take this from the perspective of the fish. Someone's brought him out of the water, the first step onto whatever's next. So cute. The Knight, super romantic vibes with like what to me seems like a little picnic spread. The green grapes, the cheese, the white wine. Heart just a flutter. The Queen, beautiful depiction. This sort of leveled up of course makes me think of girls' trips to wine country here. Good Queen energy. And the King, considering the entirety of the vineyard. So again, easy for me to bring in that idea of the King sort of having the structure and the perimeter and this sort of all-encompassing, right? You've gotten to that level of considering everything that's in your space, in your realm. The Ace of Wands here or the Ace of Fire, and paintbrushes will be the wands. Beautiful. And again, we have in the minors and the pips just simple items, but still, in this kind of placement, for here for the two, I can see, decision making, thinking about, maybe in this instance, because they're crossed, I would say, maybe at a standstill, trying to do a little bit of problem solving and think about what might be possible. The 3, 4, beautiful colors. The 5, again, I'd be reading these things as I traditionally would. 5 as a shake-up, 6 as some kind of accomplishment or victory. 7, standing your ground, so on and so forth. The 8, the 9, and 10. And then we have the page. Love that the lizard comes into play here, lizard or chameleon. That reptile energy. The knight is a horse painted on the easel. That fire energy reminder. The queen, of course, with her black cat, and the sunflower. I love just the symbols on the easel. And the king. Beautiful. And the ace. So we're into this air element, the communication aspect of the swords that we would typically see works so well here, of course, expressing thoughts, expressing the communication. Here we have them crossed, right? Maybe this stalemate, balance, decision-making, prioritizing moment. The 3, 4, 5, the 6, 7. This is good with kind of one of them askew, right? You could read it that way. And again, relate to the original. The 8, being kind of trapped in by these, yeah. The 9 has this sort of, this all over sort of pattern or design, right? It's, again, can kind of clue you into that, the heavy feeling of the 9. And the 10. Page in our air suit is a book with a ladder, getting ready to climb into this knowledge, right? Taking those first steps. The knight, working hard, rough draft situation going on here. The queen, just so love this. This one really reminds me of, things you would see in the idiosyncratic deck, shelves in a house with items on them. I just really love it. We have some growth and abundance that I would typically read with the queen. Yeah, that creative energy. And then with the king, with a full bookshelf, the fully established, grounded to the floor, right, where I would see, which I love because I read my kings as earth and my pages as air, by the way. So, yeah, I love the differences here. Beautiful. And last but not least, our pentacles or our earth suit. Here is, you'll see our quartz end up in full outfits, clothing that is designed and constructed throughout the suit. So we have sewing needle, thread, buttons here, of course, for the ace, showing us the things that will be involved in the suit. The 2, matches my nails. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Beautiful how we bring in this little bit of luxury to relate to the traditional image. Beautiful. The 10 with the hearts, again, we have a little added nod there. And then the page, this I think is so cute because the outfits are, you know, relate to the feeling of the energy or the age of the quartz, which I think is just adorable. The Knight. And the Queen, so beautiful. And the King, the fully realized, formal king energy. So there, I finally did it. I showed Juli's beautiful Inspired Soul Tarot, did my little talk through that I've always wanted to do. This is really beautiful laid out on the table as well. I shuffled the, oh well, title cards in there. That's okay. I'll do just a quick kind of shuffle and lay out. I wonder if I can back this out a little bit while I'm, yeah. Okay, so let's see here. Just a quick one. Cardstock is nice, smooth cardstock from MPC. Let's see. Showing you the cards a bit just so I don't knock into the camera. But just so you can see them laid out because they're just so beautiful and so fun. And the pips showing up in relation to the majors and the quartz. It's just beautiful and so easy, quote unquote, easy reader for me, but I laugh a little bit when I hear that, but not to diminish struggles anyone has, but I find I can just read with most things and I find something useful in every deck I have, but I also, as I've probably said before, find it really easy to know which decks are gonna quote unquote work for me and which might not. So we'll see how well I shuffled. Oh, not too bad. Just again pulling some out so you can see. There, maybe let's do a quick fire. We are, I might go a little Lenormand with this, but just hold on. At the mind level, or maybe even at the spirit level, if we're going to call this spirit, mind, body, let's just go with that. You know, our higher self or our super conscious, whatever you want to call this, is maybe telling us to indulge a little bit or to be wary of being too tied to things that we know are not helping us to better ourselves. We have this king energy in the past, this really solid foundation that then maybe breaks into these two areas, right? If we're moving from past to present to future. So stability still being an important piece of this, but then also the Seven of Cups, more work is going to come in, some tending to what is best for us emotionally and choosing what's in front of us, a time to maybe reprioritize. What are, we think of the traditional seven with the different items in the different cups, so we have this idea of choice. But again, here I'm maybe more focused on the numerology of the seven to me, which is super spiritual. It's about learning, and so then in this case, study about what is emotionally important to you. Again, keeping an eye on things that might hold us back, but also not being afraid of these things, kind of facing those head on. The Night Energy, a double action card with, sorry, I just realized you can't see what's at the bottom. Double energy, double action, going forward, making lots of progress, but again, wanting to be sure that we don't miss things by going too quickly. But we do have the extra card. It says this is the way, right? You're on the right path. This is the way. The Eight of Cups, maybe considering that we have established the sense of stability and security, and whatever this is, it's good enough. We're going to go on to something else now. So then I would use this 3 to say it's time to kind of start something new. There's growth and potential. We're going to let go. We've done this emotional work, and now it's time to get something into the physical material. We're going to plant seeds. We're going to trust the seeds that we've planted, start collaborating and connecting, and really get this project going, which will lead to new ways for you to express and communicate. And this following the growth and potential here will provide you with a new sense of clarity. How about that? All right, kids, thank you so much for hanging out with me while I finally showed and did a talk through of one of my favorites, the Inspired Soul Tarot by J. Rose, or Juli at Peekaboo Rose. Again, you can find this beautiful deck at Make Playing Cards along with her other beautiful creations. Thank you so much for hanging out, and I'll see you next time.